Hello and welcome back to another Doctor Who related video. In today's Doctor Who related video we're doing another tier list because I quite like doing them, they're quite fun really. I recently did the 4th Doctor era, did a whole video tier listing that, so check out that. I'll leave a little card thing there and a link in the description below to that video so you can check it all out. But in today's tier list video we're doing Post Regeneration Stories, or in simpler terms, Doctor's First Stories. I thought I'd do this because season 24 is coming out on Blu-ray, and of course we've had a post-regeneration story involving the War Doctor in The War Doctor Begins called Light the Flame. So I thought, you know what, let's celebrate those two releases and do a good old tier list. I've added a few little extra stories in there as well, a few Big Finish stories because, hey, I do like me some Big Finish. Yeah, and I forgot to include Scream of Vishalka and Curse of Fatal Death just for a little bit of fun really. But yeah, I guess you could be a little bit pedantic and go, where's Brain and Morbius and where's the Timeless Children? But hey, let's not get bogged down in all that, shall we? And take a look at this good old tier list. So let's dive in and begin the tier listing. Cheers. So here is our tier list containing our post-regeneration stories. Granted, Rose and Unearthly Child aren't really regeneration stories, but you know what? Let's include them because we like to include many Doctors on this channel. So let's dive into this tier list and begin with the first one, which is, you may think is the Christmas Invasion, but it is a little mini-sode Children in Need special from 2005. It is Born Again with the 10th Doctor and Rose, and basically sets up the events for Christmas Invasion, why the Doctor's in bed for literally the whole story. I think it's a great little bit of fun actually. I think that for a little 6-minute episode, it's a little bit of fluff, and I really do like it. So it's going in great because I do like it. I think it's a nice little Easter egg, and I guess makes the Christmas Invasion a bit more enjoyable. Next up we have Power of the Daleks. Yes, a lost story, but we've had 2 animations now of it. And Power of the Daleks I think is an excellent story. It's excellent, it's a good story, it is a very good one. It's a great way of transitioning from the first Doctor to the second Doctor, especially for audiences who weren't sure on the idea of a new Doctor, because it wasn't called regeneration, it was called renewal. I think the Daleks are great, you know, them sort of in the shadows being very sly and devious. It just works incredibly well. I love them, and a great way of setting up and making the show continue to this very day. Next story on the tier list is good old celery boy, Castrovalva. Yeah, got some celery. I didn't buy celery just for this video. I've got to eat it now, haven't I? So yeah, Castrovalva. Get your father dated. I certainly have. Still to him. Yeah. The things you do for entertainment. Have a bit of tea to get rid of the celery. Yeah, I think the celery's gone now. Castrovalva as a story, where is it going to go on the tier list? I think it's going to go in great. I think since watching it on Blu-ray, I've had a new appreciation for it. I really enjoy it. I think that it's a fun story. It's a great little continuation from Logopolis. I love the music in part 1. I think that's fantastic. Davison mimicking, well, the 5th Doctor, mimicking the previous incarnations. Oh, soon be near the Ice Warrior Tombs, Brigadier, and all that sort of stuff. I love that. I absolutely love it. I think that it's great. I love it. But I can never forgive the 5th Doctor for destroying the scarf. That's sacrilege. So then we've got the Christmas Invasion. Again, I think that is great. I think that it's okay. It's interesting because it's the first post-regeneration story I experienced. For me, it was the first post-regeneration story I experienced. You know, it's told from Rose's point of view, very much our eyes and ears from the whole of series 1, and she continues to basically be us in the Christmas Invasion. The Sycorax, fantastic monster design. They really need to come back. They really do. I know they appeared in a few comics and a few Big Finish, but honestly, they need to appear back on screen because I think that they're fantastic. And Revolution of the Daleks showed that they've still got the props kicking around. Please bring back the Sycorax. I think they're great. David Tennant hits the ground running when he appears, when he, you know, comes through the TARDIS doors and like, oh, did you miss me? Yes, we did. And it's great that he has that whole speech, that whole monologue of him finding out who his doctor is. and that's literally, you know who the 10th Doctor is, and it set off his sort of arc of vanity. So there we go. Next up, we have The Woman Who Fell to Earth, which, this is difficult because it has elements I really like. I love the cinematography. That's one thing I love about the 13th Doctor's era. I've still got celery in my mouth. That's really annoying. But I'm gonna be honest, I'm not too keen on it. Everyone seems to love it, and I'm happy people enjoy it. But for me, there's just something about this story where it's a bit 50-50. There are elements I like about it. It sets up the companions really well, but I just don't get it. I just don't really enjoy it personally. So yeah, Woman Who Fell to Earth, not too keen on it. It's a 50-50 one for me personally. Then we have another introduction to a female Doctor, which is Exile, a Big Finish story, an Unbound one, written by Nicholas Briggs. It basically sees the Doctor drunk for most of it, and the Doctor's played by Annabella Weir. And I'm going to be honest, no thank you. It's pretty terrible. It's arguably one of Big Finish's worst Big Finish stories that they've done, and yeah, it's not a good one. It's not a good one. It's not one of Big Finish's finest hours. Next up, we have Light the Flame, the War Doctor's opening story set on Khan, and I have to say, it is superb. If you haven't checked out The War Doctor Begins, there's a free excerpt on the Big Finish website. They did a little 15-minute tease on the Big Finish podcast where you can check out the first 15 minutes of this episode, and I have to say, I really enjoyed it. Jonathan Carley does a superb job as the War Doctor. He does a tremendous job, and that's going to go in excellent. I really enjoyed it. I think that it was great. A real nice continuation from Night of the Doctor. Just love it, love it. Next up, we have An Unearthly Child. Now, episode 1 should be in God tier because it's fantastic, but the rest of it does let it down, and it feels like sacrilege to put it in 50-50, but we're going to put it in 50-50 because the rest of it's not that great. But it's good. Episode 1, just chef kiss, but the rest, yeah, take it or leave it. But if it was episode 1 would be in God tier, but it's not episode 1, it's a full package. The next story, we have Sympathy for the Devil, which is basically the Unbound Third Doctor story. It introduces us to David Warner's Doctor, who's become a regular in the Big Finish world, and is now travelling with Bernie Summerfield. And the Timeless Children's basically said that practically every Doctor's canon, really. So you know what, we're gonna put the Unbound on here. So he's gonna go in great. I think that it's a good story. You've got Mark Gatiss as Master in there. Yeah, it's a really nice little political story. Again, it's got David Tennant in it. David Tennant features in Exile as a Time Lord sentencing, basically doing a satire of the war games in Exile, but in Sympathy for the Devil he plays one of the unit soldiers in there, and he does a really good job. We have Deep Breath, the 12th Doctor's first story. I really like it. That's going to go in excellent. I really love the half-faced man. I think that it's very creepy. I love Capaldi within it. The whole restaurant scene between the 12th Doctor and Clara is just comedy gold. I just love it. I love the whole sort of Victoriana setting of it. The dinosaur, though random, starting off with a bit of an interesting start. The whole sort of, did the 12th Doctor push the half-faced man? He did. That's my view. I think that he pushed him. I think that it's tremendously fun. I love it. It's a great one. It's 75 minutes. You could say that it is a bit padding, but I have a lot of nostalgia for it because I went and saw it in the cinema, and it just takes me back to when I first witnessed it, and it was a good one. Speaking of a good one, we have Spearhead from Space, which I think you guessed it. It goes in God tier because it is Jon Pertwee.
All praise to the Great One.
And Jon Pertwee is the best Doctor. Love that man. Fantastic. Yeah, Spearhead from Space is just so exciting for me as a post-regeneration story, and probably is my favourite post-regeneration story because it's so radically different. It's basically The Woman Who Fell to Earth, I guess, in a way, but it's just so radically different to everything what had gone before. I think that it's just great. The Autons are fantastic. You have the whole transitioning scene with the Third Doctor sort of getting rid of the Second Doctor mannerisms. The first 2 episodes, though he's sort of asleep. He's still got that sort of comedic edge, like the second Doctor, is like, oh, must find my shoes, yes. And all that sort of stuff. That's very comedic, and it sort of reminds me of, Troughton. But when you get to sort of midway through part 3, you have the very stern, authoritative third Doctor going, look, this is what we're going to do. And I love it. It sets up Liz and the unit family great, and it just sets up the whole Pertwee era superb. The Autons are timeless. I love them, and they just give me the heebie-jeebies, the Autons are within this, because you can see the actor's eyes. And for me, that's quite creepy. That's very creepy. And I love it. I think that it's a good story. It is superb. It is chef kiss. That's why it's in gold tier. Next up, we have Robot, Tom Baker's first story. Again, this is a very interesting one because it's a remnant of the third Doctor era, because it still feels very Pertwee-esque. And I think that's why it goes in excellent. It's a good story. I like it. K1, I love him. I love the K1 robot. Such a fantastic robot design and a great character options figure. I love him. And every time I went to the Doctor Experience, I had to get me a photo of K1 robot because I just love him. He's a good chap. I like him. It's Doctor Who does King Kong, and what more could you want from that? Next up, we have Rules, the Ninth Doctor's debut story on our screens. That's going to go excellent. That's a good one. It's my first ever Doctor episode I saw. I love it. Again, it's the Autons. Great way of... It's the modern day Spearhead from space, so it's got to go in excellent. It's a good one. It sets off the whole dynamic between Nine and Rose, and it's just superb. I love it. It's a good story. Then we have Fugitive from the Judoon, Joe Martin's debut story as the Doctor. I put this in a little wild card because I like Joe Martin's Doctor. I think that she's superb, and I want her to be the 14th Doctor because I love her. She's a good Doctor. And that is going to go... That's going to go in great. We'll put it there. We'll put you there. I love it. The Judoon are great. It starts off like a very traditional, safe Doctor Who story, doesn't it? Like, oh, Judoon are invading Gloucester. Oh, go on, Jodie. Got to fix that. Got to save the day. And then you have the complete twist of a new Doctor. It's incredible. And it's great. Joe Martin, just superb. Love it. Next up, we have Taiman Rani. Yes. Sylvester McCoy in a wig. Yes, very interesting. Is this going to be hot take time? Because I'm going to be honest, Taiman Rani is my favourite season 24 story. I love it. I went in with low expectations when I first saw it, but I just love it. And I'm going to put it in. I'm going to put it in great. I really like it. I don't know why. The Tetrap is such a cool design. And for me, I really like seeing the 7th Doctor in the 6th Doctor's clothes. I think that's just so bizarre and so cool. It's like, Woman Who Fell to Earth. The 13th Doctor looks so cool in the 12th Doctor's outfit. I absolutely love it. And I kind of wish that Jodie stuck with Peter Capaldi's costume because it's lovely. But yeah, Taiman Rani, I like it. Though ridiculous, Kate O'Mara pretending to be Bonnie Langford, but that's just 82. It's camp, it's fun, it's cheesy, and it's just wacky as hell, and I love it. I just love it. Then we have the good old TV movie, a regeneration story and a post regeneration story at the same time. Where are you going to go? It's got Paul McGann in. He's excellent. The whole regeneration scene's so interesting and so creepy, and kind of scarred me as a kid. The 7th Doctor on an operating table. It's hard stuff. It's crazy stuff. Again, you can go in great. I think that it's a great little story. Paul McGann is the Doctor right from the get-go. Fantastic, and it's a real shame that we never got to see Paul McGann more on screen because I love him. I think he's a good old Doctor. The 11th Hour, that can only go in one place. God tier. I love it. It's 65 minutes of pure action, and I love it. Considering this is the same runtime as A Woman Who Fell to Earth, I think a lot more happens within the 11th Hour. I think that it's just a real great way. It sets up. It's a breath of fresh air. It's so radical. It's so different to what had gone before. The Raggedy Doctor is such a charming idea, and I love it. The way the Doctor's introduced to a companion in her younger days, and then we meet her as she gets older. wonderful idea. I think that's real charming. The whole sort of rooftop speech with the Atraxi, I get goosebumps. I am the Doctor, despite it being played a million times throughout the Moffat era. I just love it. I think that it's one of the best pieces of Doctor Who music out there. Matt Smith is the Doctor right from the get-go. I think that he is superb. And I think that Matt Smith is just superb. He's brilliant. Considering the weight of the task he had to follow on from David Tennant, arguably the most iconic Doctor of the 21st century, I think Matt Smith does a superb job, and Moffat is firing on all cylinders. Great banter, like Jeff, get a girlfriend. It's all brilliant, and I love it. I think it's superb. Then we have the Twin Dilemma. The Twin Dilemma, the Sixth Doctor's opening story, the last story for season 21. Where do you think it's going to go? Is it going to go in no thank you? Or is it going to go in 50-50 great, excellent or god tier? I think it's going to go... I think the Twin Dilemma, personally, I think that the first 2 episodes aren't bad. They aren't bad. The twins are annoying. But, what can you do? Colin Baker is great. I think that he's superb. I think that every Doctor in their first story has nailed it. I think that there are moments of brilliance, and there's moments where you're like, that is the Doctor. I think it's going to go in 50-50, because personally, once you get past sort of part 2, the story does go downhill, personally. I don't think it's bad, but it's not a story I would watch and choose over. So yeah, I think that it's got to go in 50-50. I don't think that it's bad as what people say. I think there are worse episodes out there in the Doctor universe. I think now it's a perfect time to wrap up this video, because I think I need to go and brush my teeth, because the salary's in there. So yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed this video. Please do like and subscribe if you haven't already, for more Doctor related content in the near future. So thank you very much for watching, and yeah, I'm off to get rid of the rest of this celery. So yeah, bye bye.